well. Today I have the pleasure of talking to Jim Barris. He's with the Laguna Beach Police Department. He is a civilian supervisor, and his main function today is to talk about coyotes and coyote alerts. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you, Ken. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here.
One of the things that we have noticed really throughout Orange County, throughout Southern California, is the fact that it just seems that maybe because of the drought and lack of water and that sort of thing, that coyotes are coming into areas that I'm not going to say they haven't done before, because they certainly have, but it seems to be a little bit more prevalent this season. Is that what you're seeing?
We are, and I would agree with you. We can't say that it's an absolute fact that the drought is maybe altering or driving coyotes into the city more than it would be normal, but that certainly is a theory, and it is true that coyote activity is elevated compared to normal levels.
You've talked at some of the board meetings, and one of the things you've talked about is people that actually feed the coyotes. And I don't think they actually go up with their hand and some dog biscuits.
No.
But they will actually leave out food, whether it's for coyotes intentionally or raccoons, or it's for wildlife. And that's something you don't want to do.
No, we don't want to see that. You know, coyotes are wild animals. They're not domesticated pets, and we need to treat them as such. And you want them to stay in their natural habitat and not feel comfortable around people, because once they do that, then that sets up a greater likelihood of them attacking our pets. What drives that acclimation or reduces the fear of humans is people who feed coyotes. And we have unfortunately encountered some individuals who've gone to the store and purchased Cornish hens or left other food out. Or they'll leave food out, maybe not for a coyote, but maybe they leave it out for their dog or to feed the birds. Of course, a coyote doesn't know what the food's for, it simply sees it, and they'll eat anything.
Yes.
So if we want to reduce the problem of coyotes coming into town, we need to stop feeding coyotes. We don't want them to feel comfortable. We don't want them to see our residents as a convenient location to come and get fed.
Yeah, that is true. They will go after anything. I was telling Jim beforehand, it just so happens last night my daughter and I were looking at one of the old Roadrunner cartoons. And if you remember, when they showed the coyote, they freeze frame and they put like a Latin phrase underneath it, and it's called Coyote, and then it said, "Eatus anythingus," which is true.
Yes.
I thought about that. But it's a serious subject. We've even noticed in our neighborhood, I live up in RSM, and for the first time, I've been up there since 2004, our neighbor, we kind of back up into the O'Neill Park. One night, our neighbor was just like we do. We let our dogs out about 10 o'clock before they come in.
Right.
And she heard rustling, and a coyote jumped over the wall.
Yep.
That has never happened in our neighborhood before, and went after a dog. Now, she was able to stop it in time. Held her hands up, made noise, the coyote ran off.
Right.
But we hear them, but that's the first time I've seen that.
Right. And it's not uncommon. You know, they are stalking, and actually when you hear the coyote, they're playing. When they're on the hunt, they're very quiet because they don't want their prey to know that they're there. So that's when you're really at most at risk. And what we try to advise residents to do, if you have to let your dog outside, to relieve itself, don't leave it unattended. Be out there with it until it's done and bring it back in, because the coyote will take advantage of that opportunity, and they will lay in wait. They will hide in vegetation for a long time because they're hungry. That's, unfortunately, they're looking at your pet as their next meal.
Yeah. What, as far as the times of the day, are there certain, is it dusk that they're a little more prevalent, a broad daylight, or
they're
does it
out
seem to matter?
At all hours. It's a common myth that they're nocturnal, that they're only out at night. Well, they are out at night, that's true, but they're out in broad daylight. We have had pets attacked at high noon on a warm, sunny summer day. So you can be at risk, or your pets can be at risk any time of the day. So don't be lured into thinking that it's safe to walk your dog off leash or leave it unattended simply because the sun's out. No, attacks can happen any time of the day.
Okay. That's, speaking of a leash, one of the things you've talked about at these meetings is keep your dog on a tight leash, basically. And
very
right
important.
next to you.
It's very important, Ken. Many of the attacks have occurred because residents are walking their dogs off leash, or they have one of those extendable leashes. Okay, rather than having a good 6-foot leash. Okay, they have the extendable leash, which the dog lets the dog get out as much as 20 feet ahead of the person.
Right.
If you're an elderly person walking a dog by yourself and you have a 20-foot extendable leash and it's a small dog, that is a perfect attack opportunity for a coyote. And we've seen that occur on multiple occasions. So I can't discourage residents enough. Don't use those extendable leashes if you're walking by yourself, especially if you have a small dog. It just sets up an attack opportunity.
Yeah. One of the things you said as well, and it makes perfect sense, is walk in groups if possible. Maybe find a few other friends and have a time during the day you go out and walk your pets.
Yes. Most of these attacks, almost all of them, have occurred when people are walking their dogs by themselves, specifically women. These coyotes are very intelligent. They can tell the difference between a man and a woman. And they find women evidently to be a easier target. So we see females walking small dogs by themselves as being the most common victim. So if you're a female, we strongly encourage you to find a partner or a group to walk your dog with, simply to reduce the likelihood of being a victim. And if you can find a male partner to be in your group, all the better.
Okay, you brought a sign here today, and we're going to talk about this. This is something that you showed to the boards, and what you're going to be doing with this is that when there's a prevalence of coyotes spotted in a certain area within the community, and I imagine outside the community as well, you folks will put these signs up probably right on below the stop signs or some other post that's already there, and it'll stay up for a certain length of time, am I right?
That is correct, Ken. Yes, it's just one of our methods to engage in community outreach. Not everybody reads the paper every day or has the opportunity to watch the television. So to help reduce folks from having their pets victimized, when we start to see above average coyote activity in a specific area, what we're going to do is go put these new signs up on a pole in a very visible location. And it's just, again, another method to bring it to residents' attention that we're having a problem in a specific area, hoping that they will alter their behavior and then reduce their likelihood of being a victim.
Okay, what about, I know we've had people ask this, they're out walking without pets. Are they, should they be afraid then? Are they, do coyotes generally attack people?
No, they don't. Coyote attacks on people are very, very rare. I mean, very rare. Generally, when you hear about a person who's been injured by a coyote, it's because they got between the coyote and their pet.
Okay.
The coyote is hunting for food, and it sees small pets as a food source. So if it sees somebody walking a small pet and it's hungry, it's going to attack that pet. Often people try to interfere in the attack, and that's when they'll get bit or nipped by the coyote. But a direct attack by a coyote on a person that's not walking a dog is extremely rare. We haven't actually had that happen in Laguna Woods, well, in probably over 15 years.
Okay. If you are alone, you're walking your dog, even in a group, let's say, do you suggest carrying something like a big stick or an air horn or something like that?
Yes, it's wise to carry a stick, an air horn, maybe say an empty soda can with some pennies or rocks in there, something that you could throw or attack the coyote with. If it's bold enough to come up to you, then it's lost its fear of humans or it doesn't have enough. So what you want to do is you want to haze the coyote by reinstilling that fear in it. So don't be intimidated. Put your hands up, scream, charge at the coyote. If you have that rock or can, throw it as hard as you can at the coyote. You do want it to sting. Don't worry, you're not going to injure the coyote, okay? But you do want it to be afraid of you.
Yeah.
So it will run off and not come back. Carry a walking stick so you can poke it or hit it. An air horn will work too. Anything that you can use to frighten that coyote off. Take it with you and use it.
Okay, very good. If you want to report a sighting to Animal Services, and it's Laguna Beach Animal Services, they cover this area. Here's the number on the screen, 949-497-0701. And that's basically if you see something within closer to a residential area, right?
Yeah, any coyote sightings and certainly any attacks, you can call that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't always respond to simple sighting calls. It's
Okay.
normal. Coyotes are normal. They've always been here and they're going to be here. So if you see a coyote going down the street, that's normal. We still like to know about it because we track all of these.
Yeah.
We have a little electronic pin map, so we like to see where the activity is so we can direct our resources accordingly.
Okay, very good. I really appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you, Ken.
And just important suggestions, and you can see how serious this is. One more question I forgot to ask. Certain times of the year, are they more prevalent?
They are.
Okay.
Generally, the coyotes mate in the spring
Okay.
to early summer, and that's when they're raising their pups and they're most on the hunt and training them. So you do see that elevated coyote level in the spring and early summer. It should have dropped by now, and it hasn't. That's why we think maybe it's involved with the drought.
Okay. All right, very good. Once again, thank you. Good to have you here today.
Thank you. I've enjoyed
All right,
it.
we'll be right back. Just